Okay, you'll be making your final iOS projects here. Um, you're going to need to come up with a project that you want to do for this class. That the theme of that project is up to you. You will need to get approval from me for it. And if I feel that your project doesn't meet the class criteria or that it doesn't provide enough functionality, I'll ask you to update the document and resubmit it before you can start working on the project. The project class is going to be broken up into 4 distinct parts. The first week, you'll turn in an initial design. With a design document and with milestone documents for the first milestone checkpoint and the second milestone checkpoint. The second week, you'll be turning in your milestone document, your first milestone document again with any changes that you may have made since you turned in the first one. Now, if you make changes to your design documents or your milestone documents, you need to get my okay before you turn in those assignments. So anytime you need to make a change, get my okay for it before you turn in the corresponding assignment. So the first milestone, you'll be turning in your milestone document again and a copy of your project so that we can see how well you met the milestones that you set for yourself. And the third week, you'll be turning in your second milestone with your milestones as they are set for at that point. You may have made changes that you should have gotten my okay for, and so you're going to turn in the milestone document again and the project, and we see how well you managed to meet those milestones. And then the last week is the final project where you turn in the completed design document and your completed project, which should meet what you said you were going to do in the design document. You may have made changes to the design document along the way. If you do make changes, you need to get my okay for those. The milestone documents are used to set goals for yourself, and they will consist of the features and the UI that you plan to implement for each week. So you can think of those as your project plans. And each week you'll be graded on how well you executed your plans for the week by comparing your existing functionality to your milestone documents. Now, if you think that you're not going to be able to make a milestone, then you should make a change to your milestone document and get my okay for that before you turn in the assignment. The first week here, you're just going to be turning in your initial design document and milestone document to get my okay. Let's see, the final design document should have all your screenshots. Your original design document can have like mock-ups, but then as you progress, you can add, you can make it more detailed and add screenshots. Your project should be, when you finish it, should look good and work well and solve the problem that you identified at the start of the project, and you should turn in a completed project with the features from the featured list that you had in your design document. There are certain kinds of projects that are not allowed because they may either be too easy to implement or bring no value to the assignment. You can't just do a to-do list with adding, editing, and removing items from a list. You can't just do a photo gallery that's just a list of pictures. You can't. You can have web views as part of a project, but you can't create a web browser application or have your entire application consist only of a web view or multiple web views. Application logins. You can't make it so I'm going to have to sign up for a Twitter or Facebook or some other social network login. You can ask for a user ID and password for your application, but not require that I sign up for or the user sign up for a social network login credential. You have to use native code. It has to be Objective-C. If you don't use Objective-C for your project in native code, you'll get a 0 and you won't be allowed to resubmit the assignment. Any questions about that?
I may just have one. I was wondering. I looked through the template
Yes.
for the documents, and I see that like we can keep that template, but just change like put our stuff into it or whatever. I was trying to figure out how like they was showing like the simulator, for instance, on these the template for the. Can we just take screenshots of like what we have of ours into actual Xcode and then implement it into the Word like that? I mean, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's okay. At the end, you should probably be putting in. Well, let's see. How are you going to get screenshots? You can't really get screenshots from a device very easily, can you? Yeah, I think that would be fine to put it in from the simulator.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. Because like from like get-go, I mean, because this is like my second time around, but I never actually. I just went through the first week, and I had to take a WP for some personal matters. But I did get a gist of what was going on. I thought, okay, well, and that's the first thing I asked the instructor that was there. I said, well, are we allowed to use these screenshots or whatever in Xcode to use that? And I never really got back with him. I think that was Lyndon Madomo. And then it was the next thing I know, it was week 2. I was already done with the WP, and I think Wendy Jones had taken it over. And then I don't know. Then I restarted it, and then you're here, which is fine because I like.
This is actually the first time I've taken it.
Right. Well, that's cool. That's really great because I've had you before, and you're a great instructor, and Lyndon's a great. All you guys are great instructors. But it's kind of really kind of trips me out a little bit. It's like, okay, well, I got Lyndon, and then I took a WP, and then it's like Wendy's taking over, and then I restarted again for this month, and it's you, and I'm like, but it's all cool. I mean, you guys are all great, but I just want to get a good heads up on it, and this time I have to finish it. There's no WPs, and I just that's why I'm here to hang out tonight. I just want to know what's expected, and so I can do well on this.
Yeah, I would think that getting the screenshots from the simulator is probably the easiest way to do it because getting screenshots off a mobile device might be a little tricky.
Right. Okay. That was the only question I had. I think I just coming up with an idea. It's that and to-do. I understand that to-do list. I mean, that's all easy stuff or whatever. There is one other question. Okay, if we come up with something, like I was thinking, like this. I've been working on this thing, like a medication reminder for people or whatever. Does it have to be? I mean, so many screens that you have to have for it, or like you see what I'm saying? Like if you click on this screen, it has to be like 2 or 3 screens, or.
I don't believe there's really any limit here to the number of screens that they have to be. It needs to be involved enough that it's not like just really something you could whip off in a day or two
Right.
of work.
Well, I understand that.
Right.
And I know that's the whole thing is you don't want to make it easy. I mean, you want to make it get harder. I mean, that's the thing. Learning this and teaching. I mean, that's what I'm going to school for, is to try to get this stuff and figure it out where I can get more and more and more and more screens, so I can make the app that nobody has or whatever, and be, the guy that you may see on television or whatever, and hey, he's making lots of money. Where do you go to school at? Full Sail.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole goal.
I guess I would have to see the plan to see how much functionality there was there. It's not really a matter of the number of screens involved, as what value does it produce for the user. It couldn't just be like a list, where you would have like a table view, and you would have to have something that would make it worth having an app for, basically.
Right, and different from other apps that's out there, because there's a lot of apps out there. So basically what you're saying is like, yeah, it's more functionality out there that works good, and it's easy to use, and it's may be different from what others out there, and it'd be more popular than others. I mean, maybe people would like it way better than what's already out there. I mean, as far as usability, I mean, that's the big thing, usability. I mean, a lot of people out there, I talk to people all the time. I mean, I'm an automobile mechanic. I see people, they got cell phones, and oh wow, check out my S5 or check out my S4 or my new iPhone or whatever. It's like, well, I still don't really know how to use it, you know. And I try to tell them what I'm going to school for, and they're like, oh, I always wanted to kind of do something like that, you know, to learn how to use my phone. I'm like, you're not getting the really picture. I said, I'm not going to school to learn how to use the phone.
Programming for the phone here too.
Right. I said, I'm going to school because everything that you're actually going on the internet for, and you're tapping and pushing and shaking or doing whatever, that's behind the scenes. That's what I'm going to school for, is what you're actually looking on your phone, you know, all these apps to make. You know.
Make the app, right.
Yeah, make the app. And they can't kind of grasp it or whatever. They just don't understand it, which is, I mean, it's okay. And I mean, like I said, I'm an automobile mechanic. It's like most people don't, well, I don't know how to put a timing belt on a car. Most people don't. It's kind of a good field for me to learn, but that's cool. But that's all I had questions for that. That's great. I just need to, I think I want to use that that med reminder application for it, and then I'll see what I can get done and turn into you and see if you'll approve it or not.
Okay, sounds good.
But that's all I had right now. I think I saw the other guy beeping in.
Ty, are you still here? I'm not.
I don't think my mic's working.
Oh, I just heard you though.
Oh, well, the indicator's not showing up on my screen, so.
I can hear you though.
Okay.
So did you have any questions or comments to make?
I don't really have an idea for what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I have a few, but I don't know if they'd be good enough.
What are you thinking of?
I was thinking maybe a weather app, but as he was saying, there's plenty of those, and you can't really make those too unique unless you go crazy on the design. And I had maybe like Instagram for iPad, since they don't have that. I don't know. I don't really have any ideas.
Okay, you might be able to come up with something that you could do for the weather.
I know there's a lot of work involved with the data structure, so it's not going to be too easy.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. The Instagram one might be problematic because that would probably, you know, require me to be able to have the login info, what I need to do to get into Instagram. You know, I mean, if I'm not an Instagram user, I'm not sure if I would be able to use the app. That require me to get credentials from Instagram.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, so that might not work. But I'm thinking you might be able to do something with the weather. You know, Wendy has an app on the App Store that deals with the weather. It's called Hurricane Pro. So evidently she would think that weather-related apps were worthwhile. It would depend on, you know, you'd have to have enough functionality in it to make it useful. It doesn't necessarily have to be the only thing that's ever been made like it.
Well, the thing is, I don't really see what functionality I could give to a weather app other than displaying weather information and maybe reminders for alerts for severe weather. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to have something that the user can interact with somehow.
I don't have any ideas.
Okay, well, you need to give that some thought then, and you know, if
that's why I took the whole last month off. I couldn't think of anything.
Guess you and I can maybe get together offline. I'll talk to Wendy a little bit, and let's see, who was it that taught it last time before Wendy? That you said you had? Mark, you said you had another instructor.
It was Lyndon Mendomo.
Yeah.
It started it out, and then Wendy took it over, I believe, on the second week.
Yeah, I'll talk to them a little bit and see if they can help me help you to come up with and I'll get back to you. Okay, Ty?
I just got disconnected.
I can still hear you.
It rejoined as soon as it said disconnected, so I don't know.
Is there? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Is there still the group chat over there? Is there a list that popped up for a link that I sent?
I don't see one.
I don't see a link.
Let me see if I can repaste it. This is just something that I kind of done. Maybe that won't disconnect it. That's just an app that I'd made. I kind of learned. I guess I'm learning backwards. I've been going learning that Java. I like Java. Java's the Android. That's actual an app. That link there will take you to an app that I made. That's actual on Google Play. It's a free app. Treehouse. Actually, that's where I actually kind of learned to make it. I've been going in between them, and because I know Java's going to be coming up. But I made this app made this over a year ago. It was in April, I believe, April of 2013. And right now, I just looked at it this morning before I went to work, and I'm about 300 downloads away from 10,000 downloads on this free app.
Cool.
But
that's on the App Store or on the Apple's App Store?
Yeah, that's if you click that link there, it'll take you to it. It's got my name on there, the images and everything. And
what does it do?
It's just a crystal ball. You know, I mean, I'm 45 years old. Back in the day, you used to have this little black ball with the triangle in it. Remember that? The 8 ball, right?
I'm older than you are.
Right. I'm sure. But anyway, it was just something silly app. It just you download whatever. It's a crystal ball, and you just ask it a question. And you shake your phone. It's got that shakeometer in it. That the deal in the Android phone will actually it'll tell if you're shaking it, and then it'll you ask you the question, and I come up with the I think there was 9 different possibilities. And it randomly chooses them. And that's another thing which is so funny because I've got a lot of reviews on it, and people's like, oh, this is BS. It doesn't work. I didn't even ask anything and shook it, and it told me an answer. And I sat there, and I honestly, like I told my wife, I said, how gullible are people? I mean, people will believe in anything. I mean, and I don't mean to feel superior or nothing, but it's just entertainment. It's not something that's that's real or whatever. It's guaranteed to work. I can't. It's not like I put on there, hey man, you're guaranteed to get the winning lottery numbers if you download or buy this app, but they do. There's people like that, but it's pretty cool. I mean, like I said, I've almost got 10,000 downloads on this, and I put it on the Amazon store too. And believe it or not, I put it on the Amazon store for 99 cents, and it's already been downloaded about 12 or 13 times. And of course, they get a percentage, and Google does too. I mean, every app that's sold on Google. If I was put one on there for 99 cents or whatever, they get like I think 25 or 30%, and then you get the rest. It goes into your bank account or whatever. And but Google's $25. I mean, you're locked in for life. As many apps as you want to put or whatever. Now, I think I did find out that the Apple wants quite a bit more. I think they want anywhere from 150.
99. It's 99 a year.
Is it 99 a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you get access to a lot of developer materials too that are quite useful. Might help you in school.
Right. I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the Google stuff, but I know Apple has a lot better documentation from what I hear.
Right.
Yeah, there's lots of great stuff available in the Apple developer section area.
And it's just like I said, I like learning at both, but because I'm an Android person, I have Android. Most of my buddies have Android, and I've been researching Android. I think I seen the other day. It's like there's I don't know how many billion Android phones are like out there now that people have. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like this stuff's really getting like blown way out of proportion, and everybody's going this way, and this is what to get into, And I'm just loving it at every minute of it. But I don't know. I like Objective-C though too, because that's what I'm learning and knowing. And Java, it's kind of close to whatever. I don't know. I haven't played around with the Eclipse lately until, that app. It's been, quite a few months since I've messed around with that. I've been messing around, of course, with Xcode. But, man, there's so many possibilities out there. But as you know, and I know with talking with different instructors, too, I've had instructors, man, I'm writing some code or whatever, they be checking out, man, you got a bug here, I can't fight it, just give me a couple of minutes. And I mean, that stuff will really tear you up. I mean, it is, debugging your code and figuring it out, it's like it'll just,
yeah, challenge. That's why people that are good programmers make the big bucks.
That's right. That's exactly right. But I love it. I love a good challenge, and but it's great, man. I love it. I mean, I love being in this school and loving talking with everybody. I love all the instructors. It's great, and it's going good, and I learn every day. Every day I learn something new.
That's great.
Have you checked out Swift yet? Apple's new programming language?
No, I haven't. I haven't checked that out yet.
Yeah, I've been looking into it. I'm going to have to be teaching it in a few months. So
it looks kind of like JavaScript for at least a declaration of variables.
What's it called? Swift, you said?
Yeah, it's Swift. Yeah. They got a free ebook on the iBook store. Actually, they have one just on the language, and then they have another one on integrating it with Objective-C and Cocoa Touch and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's got it's the syntax.
You're supposed to be able
a little more
write less code for the same result. But
yeah, that's true.
They say it's harder to grasp some of the concepts, but it's supposed to be easier.
Well, they've made the syntax, I think, a little more like most other languages, like JavaScript and like other languages, so that, and a little less wordy, so that it's easier. I think it'll be easier, I think, to do, the basic things. But then they've added some additional capabilities that weren't available in Objective-C, and some of those are a little more complex. But they're there, at least for the people now that want to use them. So I think it would be pretty good.
I don't know exactly if I want to pronounce it correctly, but I think one of the things they added was tuples or something like that.
Tuples, yeah. It's basically just groups of items that you can use in certain places. Like, how you can only return one item from a method in Objective-C. Well, you can return a tuple, which would be like a list of things, sort of.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, for you can return one item, and yeah.
Yeah.
I know they changed a lot of the Swift language already with the Beta 3 for Xcode and
iOS
it's still under development. Yosemite. So I wouldn't put too much into learning it right now, because it's going to change as soon as you learn it, I guess.
I don't think it'll change drastically, but
oh, probably not. They just fixed something. One of the array types was supposed to be immutable, but you could change some of the values. They fixed that. They changed some other things because people didn't like how it was working, and just little things that I guess you wouldn't really care about. But
yeah, basically they don't have the idea of mutable and non-mutable arrays so much as they have like that's the same general idea though. They have they have constants and they have variables, and you can have like a constant array, and that would be immutable, and the regular array then would be mutable. So you can make changes to it if it's a variable, and you can't if it's a constant, basically.
Right.
So,
yeah, immutable.
They renamed constant to let. So.
Right. They use the word let to indicate a constant.
Variable makes a lot more sense. It's just var.
And you don't necessarily have to state the. It's more like JavaScript in that you don't have to explicitly state the type. It can figure it out from what you assign to it. So if you assign an integer to it, it's going to assume it's an integer type. If you assign a double to it, it's going to assume it's a double, that sort of thing. If you assign a string to it, it's going to assume that it's a string. But I don't think it's a bad idea to state what type it is anyway, because it just makes it a little clearer. Wendy's saying that she's going to ask her students if they don't explicitly put in the type that they they put it in a comment, so you might as well put it in anyway.
Right.
But
Well, making this code easier, I mean, I think it's a good idea too, but I think it's really like where we're from is like making it, learning from scratch down at the bottom, I mean, down from the core, back where wasn't as easy, you know what I mean, you got all your loops, you got your while loops, your for loops, creating them. Now, I mean, all these, like Xcode and Eclipse, all this, they're coming out with all these new programs. It's making it a lot easier for these programs. There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, you get like a programmer, a developer, whatever, down the road 10 years from now, he's probably not going to go jack crap about what was going on, you know, what we're doing now. I mean,
you won't need to, though.
Well,
I understand that, but you may want to know how it was all done. Like
you know, I've been
an automobile mechanic
for like 25 years or so, and
right.
still a lot of the basic concepts, you know, are still there.
Still there.
Yeah, like in Swift, all the ifs and fors and stuff, I believe, are the same as they are in every language.
Right.
Some of the syntax is a little different, but it's the same idea.
I know they got rid of semicolons, so if you forget to put those in, you don't have to worry about it.
That's right. The semicolons aren't required anymore unless you're putting more than one statement on the same line for some strange reason. And
that's what I was just talking
you don't
about.
you don't have to have parentheses around your condition for an if statement. You know how you have if and then in parentheses you have whatever the condition is going to be? You don't need the parentheses anymore. Things like that. But, you know, that's not really a big change in concept. It's just syntax.
Oh, no. It's just you're going to get some errors building because you're going to be doing it the old way or something.
Right.
But the frameworks are pretty much the same. I played with
right.
Swift and UIKit, just playing with buttons.
But apparently you don't have to necessarily import all those frameworks that come in for you.
I think you import just a UIKit or whatever you want to work on in the file. I don't know. I was in a playground, so I think the playground's a little different than the actual a single view application.
I think if you go into that playground and you delete the line that says to import UIKit, it'll still work. Because I was playing with it.
I haven't tried that.
So you don't have to. So you're saying on this what you're calling this new thing, you don't have to import so much like on your
phone. You don't have to import foundations anyway. You know, I mean, like you don't have to import the built-in. Things like UIKit and the built-in frameworks, I think. You don't have to.
Yeah, the main huge change. There's one huge change that you'll definitely notice. Instead of having a .h and a .m, you only have a .swift, one single file.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking about your header and your main files.
Right, you don't have a header file. There's no header file.
I see.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
I like that. I like that for organization. It's easier to.
I'm not sure yet how they go about controlling the access from outside classes, but I'm sure there's probably a way to control the scope.
See, I'm trying to figure out. You got the .h, .m files, and you got your before. What was it last time? It was what we had last time before the storyboards. What we had the XIB file. That's right, XIB. XIB, I got used to those, and then you know what? Bam, Xcode changed around. We're not going to do XIB anymore. We got storyboards. So now I get used to storyboards. So now we got something else going to be coming up. So now, okay, maybe we're going to have storyboards, but now we're going to do away with the .h or maybe the this is really going fast.
I did a lot of improvements to storyboards, so they say.
Right.
I don't know, but the way you select like your screen size in a storyboard now on the Xcode 6 beta is kind of weird. It's like a little slider type. I don't. It's like a grid slider thing. I don't know how to explain it. You have to see it. I don't like it because it doesn't tell you the exact size. It just says compact portrait or something like that, and you got to figure out what that is. And I was reading a book, the iOS Programming 4th edition from the Big Nerd Ranch over the last month, and they use all XIBs in there until like the last couple chapters, and they talk about storyboards. And it's mostly code and XIB throughout the whole book. But what what I was, one of the challenges was add a way to change a date in one of the apps, and I added another XIB and another view controller. I got it working. The only thing was the layout for the actual date picker control. I had it centered perfectly in the XIB file, but it was way off in the, I don't even know where it was on the actual device, but I had to delete the file and start over.
The storyboards in the newer versions seem to be more accurate as far as having what you lay out in the
didn't they add a feature to storyboards where some of the things update in the storyboard for live data or something?
No, I'm not sure about that.
I don't know. I thought I saw something about it updating to something. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now.
But the main thing is like, I liked XIB files, and I did. I got used to them, but now that's cool. Now they went away. Now storyboards is there, so I mean, I've already, forget XIB files. Now I'm into storyboard. Now I know storyboard now. Now I like storyboard. Storyboard is cool, and it's a lot easier to use and a lot better features. I love storyboard. I'm going to change it.
There's one reason I don't like the storyboards. I like them both. I started with storyboards, and I just started reading this book, does XIBs. You don't have that much room for a storyboard on your screen to work with all the views in your application at once.
Well, you do, but you have to implement them. I mean, you have to use them as far as like, you've seen the videos or whatever. You come up.
No, I mean like when you're in the storyboard, you got to zoom in and out to move things.
Right.
Where you
I understand. You have to zoom in and out to make them work.
Yeah, that can be a kind of a pain, especially when sometimes you have to like make the view bigger in order to actually put UI elements onto it. Yeah.
Right.
Or zooming in and out and stuff, but
I like how the book I was reading actually went over like how the code, say if you were to drag a table view onto a view in the storyboard, how that's actually made through code.
Right,
so
you can do that stuff in code too if you want to.
Yeah. I don't know why you would, but I like how the book actually tells you how to do it in that, just so you know where you used to have to start.
Right.
One thing I do not understand though is core graphics. There's a chapter on drawing circles and triangles on the screen using core graphics, and it seems like I needed to know how to calculate that with trigonometry, and I was like, I don't know any of this.
I'm not sure how often you really use that stuff. It seems like
I don't think it'd be used in like a normal app. I think it'd be like a game.
Yeah, maybe
like a high level game.
But a lot of times you're bringing in images more than you are producing graphics, drawing things like circles on the screen. So
I suppose if your app is full of images and that just make up your UI, it'd be better to use code ones because it reduces the size of the app and makes it perform a little better. But they also have an app for that now. They have Paint code that generates the code for you.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Ty, but if I think listening to you talking and everything, you didn't have an idea or whatever. I think I kind of had problems like that too, and all through this since I've been in here at Full Sail for the time I've been in, I think I've been overshooting everything. I think I've been overthinking everything. I think maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe you're just trying too hard to think.
That sounds about right.
It is. I mean, that's what I've done, and I thought that myself. I'm like, man, I'm overthinking this, or I'm overdoing it. And I'm like, okay, well, and then I finally figured out what they're trying to tell me to do, and then I'm like, oh wow, well, this is easy as hell. Well, I was trying too hard.
Yeah, you've only got a month to make this thing, so you can't make anything like super duper complex. You might just, first of all, think about things that you're interested in, what you do for a living, or your hobbies, or whatever.
I don't exactly quite know what I could actually do based on the user interaction requirement.
You might.
Because personally, when I use apps, except for like 2 or 3, I don't interact with them. I just go on them and glance for information.
Yeah, but
So,
don't
I
you
guess
don't you choose, like, click on buttons and things like that to choose which area of the app you want to look at,
not my weather app. I use Yahoo, and that's just one single scrolling table view. I guess if I want to go a little, I don't know. I don't open it too often.
you
The
might
few apps that I
just
use that I actually hit buttons on are like Twitter and Instagram. So
go out to the App Store and look at some stuff that's out there and maybe see if you can get some ideas from some of what other people have done. Maybe you could do something similar but take a different twist with it, do something a little different, lay it out a little different.
I had one idea that I didn't come up with. My friend did, but I don't think I would be able to do it in the time given, because it would need a server back end, and that would be a lot more time consuming. But I think I'm going to try it at some point.
What would?
Oh, the app idea that my friend gave me. It's
Okay.
I don't exactly know how to explain it but it was a fishing app, like I guess like a Foursquare for fishermen,
Yeah.
where you check in with your hotspots, and I don't know exactly what his idea completely was, but it would display the location on a map,
Uh-huh.
and you'd be able to check in and share your, I guess, post statuses as well. I don't exactly know what he was getting at, but I liked the sound of it, and he drew me a little picture of it, and I liked the way it looked. But thinking about how to implement that, I was like, I'm going to need a server back end or something, and I don't think I could do that in this amount of time, and I don't even know if we're allowed to use a server back end.
Yeah, I think that's okay. It's just the thing I've seen is that you can't require something where we have to sign up to, like, be a member of a service in order to use it. Like, it has to do with say Twitter or some social network or something. Um, you could do like maybe some kind of if you're into fishing, something with what kind of lures you would, or lures or other equipment you would use to go after different kinds of fish, and maybe what is available in different areas of the state or the country or something. I don't know. Just think.
I'm not really into fishing.
Ah, okay. You
I just
mentioned
like the
fishing.
idea.
Threw that out, but
I had one other idea, and I don't exactly know how to go about it, because there's no API that I am aware of for Wikipedia. And the idea was, I'm sure you've heard of Minecraft at this point.
oh yeah.
Well, people don't always know how to craft something on that game. I was thinking about making a wiki app for the phone, because I know when I play it, I don't like to switch out of the window that it's in and go on the web and search how to make something. I'd rather just pull out another screen and do it. But there's also several of those apps, and well, I don't know if there's an API for that.
For
If there's
Wikipedia?
not, I know there's a Wikipedia Media API, but I don't know exactly if the Minecraft portion of that is actually Wikipedia or some other site that just has wiki at the end. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it can be done.
check into
They have
that.
apps for it already. I don't
Yeah.
know if they are actually pulling data from a website or it's all hard coded. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you might have to do a little research to, to find out.
Yeah, that's probably why it wouldn't be a great idea for the short amount of time that we have. I really do want to make a weather app. I just don't know how I could change it to have enough interaction for the user.
Well, the user could, would have to maybe enter where they want the weather for, find out the...
I was just going to use the, I think it's core location. So it automatically found out where they were at.
They might, choose like what they want to know about, whether they want to know about like storms that are coming up, or if they just want, to see what the precipitation is going to be, or I don't know, there had to be some kind of interactivity. But you might want to look at other weather apps and see, what they let people do. And yours doesn't necessarily have to be, a completely unique application. Obviously, it can't be a copy of anything, but it doesn't necessarily have to come up with entirely new information not provided anywhere else.
I have another question. So, I don't know how to word it. For our milestones, what exactly do we have to actually do?
Well, there's an example online there and of what one might do, and there's a template. You basically have to list, what it is, what features from the user's point of view, what features are going to be implemented by that time. What's the app going to be able to do by that week, by that mile point check-in.
And those are just what the user could do, correct? Not what I'm
right. Not in terms of coding. Like you wouldn't say, well, I'm gonna get this coding thing to work. No, it would be more what the user is going to be able to do with the app at that point.
Okay. I guess I have some thinking to do.
Although it might state, for example, that the user can see this happen. However, right now it's not live data. It's
Oh, so I don't actually have to have everything working. I just have something there that will work.
Whatever you said it was going to be working at that mile point. You're going to say, okay, at this mile point, I'm going to have it so the user can choose this, but it's not really coming from the API yet. It's just, it's read-only data they've got. Second mile point, they'll be able to see real live data, for example, you might say. But it's still going to be in terms of what the user is actually doing and seeing.
So I definitely need to come up with an idea first.
Yeah, you definitely need to come up with an idea first, because that's the first assignment. Basically, is to come up with the idea and then make the design document and the milestone documents around that.
I wish my friends had better ideas.
What about you?
I don't have any ideas.
Well, like I said, go out and peruse the App Store and see if you can get some ideas.
Every time I ask my friends for ideas, they say, make this. And I say, I don't think that's even possible.
Well, I think, Ty, man, things will just come to you. Just like I said before, I think you're just maybe trying to overthink it. Just, try to relax. And, well, of course, like,
I took a whole month off,
too. We don't have a lot of time, but just try to come up with something that's not real hard and just, not real easy, just something mediocre in between.
Exactly.
What about a recipe app? Could I do that?
A recipe app?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think you might be able to do that. You need to have some user interaction.
Well, the user would enter recipes and be able to delete recipes and such. I don't know if I'm... What else?
Well, it can't just be I think let's see, the instructions state something about not being just like lists of things that you add and delete. Let me check that here.
Yeah, I'm not for sure either. I think it's
No
everything I
to-do
think
list,
of,
like
I don't know.
editing and removing items from a list is the only thing. But you might also have it so that the user could like look for certain types of recipes, you know.
and maybe click on a picture of some kind of of whatever the food that is, a
Desserts,
cake or a meal or something. Then you click on that, and maybe it takes you to the list of the ingredients on how to make it, and then
yeah,
Maybe a video.
it could extract the ingredients you need and make a shopping list. You could separate the meals. Most cookbooks have like sections. You know, they'll have a section on poultry, they have a section on meat, salads, desserts, things like that. So you could have different buttons or tabs that would go to different areas like that. You don't want just a simple recipe app where you're saying, okay, enter a recipe and look at a recipe. You want to have it be a little more involved than that, where there's actually some user interaction involved.
I guess
Otherwise, it sounds a little
way.
like a to-do list. It needs to have a little more functionality than just a to-do list would have.
What if I threw instead of storing anything locally or through iCloud, like a server storage option?
Well, that would definitely make it more a little more difficult, I think, add to the complexity of it. But it still needs to be more than just a to-do list, where you add items and list items. But I think you could probably come up with something that was based around that idea.
Hopefully I can think of something by tomorrow.
Okay.
Wow, I can't believe we're the only ones that showed up, though. Just two of us, huh?
Yep. I think I stated in the materials that I would try to keep these Hangouts to 45 minutes or less.
Minutes.
Yeah. Probably about time for us to
it's
call it a night. It's okay with you guys.
Right. Well, hey, just if you guys want to go on, whatever. Hey, Patricia, thank you very much for all your input. Ty, thank you so much for all your input.
Also for Android, have you checked out Android Studio?
No, I haven't checked that out. I heard of that. I haven't checked that. I haven't had the time. See, that's
I know the emulator is terrible for Android. They got something called Jenny Motion, I think.
Right, and
I downloaded that earlier today, and it is a lot faster.
See, that's what I'm saying. Man, I love it. I want to do all this. It says I don't have any daggone time. And maybe I started this too late in life or whatever. I've worked 50 hours a week at my shop, and then I got to come home and do this. I just don't have the time that some other people have. I just try to make time for what I can do and make the best of it. That's all I can do, and just do my best. But I mean, I appreciate all the input or whatever. But Ty, maybe I can get with you later, whatever, man, or maybe on email or something. We can hook up and talk on messaging, or do a Google Hangout or self or whatever. Maybe I can shoot you some ideas, and
that'd be great.
Maybe we can do that.
Because I'm pretty much out of ideas.
I understand. No problem, man.
I was out of ideas before I started.
Hey, man, that's what we're here for, man. I'm one of your classmates, so, I want to stay in contact with the instructor, classmates, whoever I can, man. If we can all help each other, that's what it's all about, so we can get through this and make it a lot easier. But, hey, I appreciate you guys, all your input and everything, man. I guess I'm going to get out of here.
All right. Well, I'll be talking to you guys then. And
well, thank you so much, Patricia. And we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.